Hello everyone, my name is Martin Solhaugen, full-time YouTuber, travel filmmaker. Currently been a digital nomad for 1.5 years, loving life. I'm not so interested in material things, but rather experiences, and that's what I'm trying to share on my YouTube channel. It's all about travel, fun, and adventure.
Actually, you describing yourself as a digital nomad, which is exactly what you are, and us doing that same kind of thing now too. Like, do you when you describe that to people, do you get people sometimes go like, what is that? Do you feel like sometimes?
Right. Not really. I mean, it's so interesting because when we moved now to Playa del Carmen here in Mexico, where I'm currently living, we're in a group of 20 digital nomads, and everybody has a different story of how they're able to maintain or make money living abroad. No one is doing the exact same thing. So it's so interesting. And I think that digital nomad then, or location independent, kind of fits that thing because it's not necessarily one, like, oh, I'm doing YouTube.
Yeah.
Someone else here is doing like Chinese affiliate links, and then you have people doing OnlyFans. Like, it's crazy. There's so many different directions to make money. And
I think a lot of people think digital nomad. They're like, oh, you're an influencer. You take photos by a waterfall in Bali, right? Like, that's actually such a cool point. Like that you mentioned, like just people doing affiliate links, and again, like especially Lisbon's a bit of a hub for that. Not as glamorous as where you are, but it's definitely got a lot of Americans who come in because there's old flight routes to Lisbon. It's like the closest kind of European city actually to America.
When you're traveling around, what I know that you've been locked up for a pretty good time, as most of the people. But when the pandemic is like over and before it hit you, what are you looking for when you're like deciding on the next place to go to? And is it just experience, or is it more like how to actually work remote and create this YouTube channel?
ooh, good question. So we kind of obviously want to go to new countries that we haven't been to before. So that's one of the first thing. Okay, have we been here before? So when we chose Mexico, it was like, yeah, it's open to everyone. You can get in here.
Okay.
So we hadn't been here before. There's a lot of adventures to do. It fits our budget. And it's not really so much about, okay, the first thing, obviously, when we book an Airbnb is Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi has to be really good because we work inside all the time. We have like one day editing, one day shooting, one day editing, one day shooting, almost all the time. It goes like that. So Wi-Fi is very important. And then also having a lot of activities around us. But, we can just make vlogs out of nothing almost. We can go into the jungle and make something cool. It doesn't have to be set up for a truck that takes you in there or stuff like that. If I was only going to do what the algorithm told me what to do, I wouldn't probably be right here now. I'll go to places where there's less videos, less competition, and just make videos to get the most reach and the most views. But I think it's about finding that balance. So how can I make a story that's most interesting? Doing what I love to do. And I wanted to do it on my terms and not necessarily just follow the algorithm, which we have people that do, and it's a lot more common in the world of blogging when you're writing online to write articles so that you rank higher on Google. But it's also a scary trend that's emerging on YouTube where it's like, oh no, there's too many videos of that topic. My video is going to go bad, so I'm not going to make that video, even though I would love to do that. So we see people that are starting to think this way, but we choose not to do that. And I really hope we never have to do that, because I would love to just make videos about whatever I want to make videos about, not caring. So that's where I'm at right now.
I love that point, Martin, because a lot of people. One thing I've learned as well in my kind of several years in different areas of this is that let the content dictate it, as opposed to you can get so caught up in like the format. It has to be this format, this style, this strength, the punch. All these different elements. And you're letting the platforms dictate obviously, yeah, don't do, you know, completely the opposite of what they kind of want to promote, sure, but like, don't put a 5 hour, well, that kind of works on YouTube, streaming music for 5 hours, some YouTubers do that, and that works really well, but it's more just like you said, like, going to the caves in Bali, like every travel vlogger's done it, but Martin hasn't done it in his way for his audience, right? That's the thing. Like, what's unique about this seemingly ununique experience is you doing it, and it's your point of view and your perspective, right? So I think, like we had in a podcast the other day, it's like no one can commoditize you. You are your own asset, and the way that you do it and the style that you do it is always going to be your way. So you might still be able to beat Casey Neistat in some of his original vlogs, you know, if you crash a bike in New York in a different way that he did it, you know, through Martin's lens.
What is the biggest difference you saw when you switched from everyday vlogging to 3 days a week as you're doing right now?
Yeah. Oh, it was so amazing because, okay, so when you're doing daily vlogging, if you're on a format that works, but you just keep getting new people watching, and then it's amazing. But for me, with when you start YouTube, what I felt that it's very hard to create a following out of nothing. Like, this takes years to do. It's like you think you're gonna go on YouTube and just boom, you're gonna have 10,000 people watching your stuff, but unless you're coming from a TV show or something else that gave you a big clout, I think it's very hard. So when I was doing daily vlogging, I robbed myself from the opportunity to, instead of just driving, I could like look up and see, oh, how is this going? What have we been doing? How can I make the next vlog more entertaining so that I can attract the new audience? I was constantly just shooting, editing, shooting. I lacked the creative freedom to analyze my work and see what was performing and what wasn't performing. So when you have 3 days that you're not vlogging, you can kind of like, analyze your whole last week of content and see, oh, why did this vlog go so well? And actually dig deeper into what did you do right? And then you keep doing more of that. And over time, that's the big difference. I was able to now make sure that I was making content that people actually wanted to watch, which for me was adding more value into the videos. When I was in Hawaii, I was just like, oh, I'm a boy, I'm going on a hike. And I wouldn't even tell you what hike it was. I wouldn't even tell you how much it cost to get there or how you could get there, which now I know now that it's all about giving as much value as you possibly can to the viewers.
Many different audiences out there, and how do you like define yours so you can bring as much possible value to them?
That's very interesting, because I see myself as, when I make a video, I try to think of, okay, I have a core audience they're always following me. But then I know, based on statistic, that more than 60% of the views come from just YouTube, just throwing my video out there, seeing who's interested. That means there's always a majority of people coming in that's never seen me before. So with that in mind, means I can kind of be like, okay, there's got to be like a secondary storyline for the people that are always watching me, that are interested in me, my relationship, my growth, where I am. But then for the 60% that's coming in that are searching for exactly that topic that they got recommended the video, it has to be a lot of value. And then hopefully my personality is going to charm them into want to watch more of the stuff that I do, because it was not only full of value, but the dude was kind of cool as well. And that's how I try to see my videos, if that makes sense.
You had a massive growth when you was in Philippines. How's the difference of being a local-based YouTuber compared to traveling YouTuber?
Yeah. So just to start off with that, Philippines is the country with most YouTube accounts per capita in the world.
Wow.
That's like a fact. So they're really on YouTube, and they are so engaging and so loving for people exploring their country. It's amazing. And I also have my Filipino girlfriend, right? So I guess that helped a lot for me, and they were able to see, like, hey, this guy is not just passing through, because there's a lot of people just doing that swoop through Southeast Asia and then going somewhere else and picking up a lot of followers. But I think that's becoming less and less. Regardless of which country you start off in, you're going to see that the moment you leave your country, it's going to be harder, because it's like a wave. People are interested in the Philippines. And when we go to Mexico, it's like, some of those people are not interested in Mexico, even though they're your core audience. So you need to kind of like, it's a wave. It starts like here, whoop, and then you have a Mexico. And then you need to start building again. So you're always going to carry some core audience with you. But that was one of the biggest challenges for us when we moved to Mexico. It was like a big step, because I think if we would have spent another 2 years in the Philippines, that channel could never leave the Philippines, if that makes sense.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, like joking about location independence and digital nomads, especially if you're YouTubing that kind of thing and video content, it's like, actually it could be a trap, it could be the opposite of location independence.
Exactly. If you treat it wrong, it can be a little trap.
You had pretty like big brand deals or like adventure with brands like Volvo Car, Daniel Wellington Clock, and before you went on to Philippines, what happened? Like, did everything like stop when you went out, like being full-time YouTuber, or what happened with those type of projects?
That's a very also good question, and I'm a firm believer of law of attraction. You guys know that term, like whatever you put yourself into, you'll get more of it.
Yeah.
And when I was like putting it out on social media, hey, I'm a filmmaker now, full-time content creator. This is what I do. I work with brands. I was getting a lot of that. Oh, here's this brand, here's this brand. But when you're on like now I'm telling people, hey, I'm a full-time YouTuber. I travel the world. I'm a vlogger. So there's going to be less of cinematic film productions coming my way. It's all about where I put my energy and attracting more of.
We have to have one question that's probably you heard a lot of. And if you're starting out today with a YouTube, what should you focus on? Like,
what would you do if you started today, basically? Yeah.
I would try to set up myself, okay, who's going to be my audience? I have to define my audience first. Who am I trying to speak to here?
Yeah.
And then, because you have to just have a starting point. And if I was going to just reach Norwegians, I would have to do videos where it's relatable to Norwegians. So if I'm in a grocery shop, I have to compare the currency to the Norwegian currency. Oh, look here, a big salmon fish. It's 50% as cheap as in Norway, but it's coming from Norway. How does this make sense? So you have to like compare it to relatable stuff that Norwegian can understand. Norwegians are very about safety. How do I feel safe in Mexico? I would do all that comparison stuff. Probably, I'd have to SEO nerd a little bit, I think. Try to understand what are Norwegians searching for. I would also do what you guys are doing. Like, I just reach out to as many people as possible and try to like talk to people and show that I'm engaging in this sphere I want to be in. That was also kind of my one of my biggest, I guess, flaws when I was starting. I was just doing me instead of like trying to reach out to, because never underestimate the power of a community, and just having several people that are doing the same thing, just reaching out. If people reach out to me, even with less than 3,000 followers on Instagram, they want to meet up or do something, I'm very like, yeah, I'll consider that. I don't care about the following or where you're from or how you're doing. If you have a cool idea and you want to do it, I think it's awesome. And I think more people just need to understand that reaching out to people and trying to build your network in that sphere you're in is very powerful, because that's also how the algorithm works. It's just trying to link you. Who are you? What are you doing?
So if I was like, dude, so I'm just, my job's just said I can travel now wherever I want. I'm about to remote work and travel. You've done this for so long now. Whatever you want to call it, digital nomad, location dependent, like what are sort of like some of the biggest mistakes you made or some of the biggest lessons that you would say, all right, mate, first and foremost, get yourself a digital bank or something. Where would I start? What would your advice be to me?
Ooh, that's actually, what you just said there. Make sure that you have, I'll just grab a couple of credit cards too, honestly, with you, because I've had Norway bank frozen my bank accounts without even telling me. And if you don't have money, that's kind of the end. Then you're kind of stuck. So just having a credit card with you at all times.
Maybe one or two then, So like different banks and stuff like that, and then just to make sure they're all live and just in case, Because
you can always transfer money in your own system, but just make sure that you have the ability to withdraw money. Next thing is probably, not a lot of people are aware that your iPhone has the ability to have a dual SIM. So you can have when you arrive in a new country, you buy a SIM card usually, and you put that in. There's also option to have a digital dual SIM, which you can connect to wherever you're back home. So I have my Norwegian SIM card in Norway connected to a digital SIM card. So I just, with a click of a button, activate a second SIM card, and I can once a day just see if there's any messages. And that's where my Norwegian bank would tell me, hey, we blocked your card.
I've never heard that one. That's so valuable. Thank you, mate, for sharing.
Thank you so much,
Good luck
Martin.
with your journey, guys. Yeah, no, you're welcome.